My name is Anna Mitchell, and I'm 38 years young. For the past 9 years, I've poured my heart into my skincare clinic, which has grown into a sanctuary of beauty and tranquility in the bustling heart of the city. My life, seemingly serene, was about to face an unexpected storm. It was a regular Thursday evening when Ethan, my husband of 4 years, casually dropped a bombshell over dinner. "I think it's time for Mom to move in with us," he said, as if discussing the weather. I paused, a forkful of salad suspended in midair. "Move in, as in permanently?" The words felt heavy in my mouth. Ethan nodded, oblivious to my shock. "Yeah, since Dad's gone, she's all alone. It's the least we can do." The news should have been a discussion, a decision made together. But there it was, presented as a done deal. My mind raced with images of Mrs. Harper, Ethan's mother, a woman of strong opinions and an even stronger presence, invading our peaceful home. But Ethan, our apartment isn't exactly spacious. Where would she even stay? I tried to keep my voice steady, but inside I was a whirlwind of anxiety and frustration. "We'll figure it out. It's important to me, Anna." His tone left no room for argument. I wanted to protest, to explain that this wasn't just about physical space, but about our space, our sanctuary. But I saw the resolve in Ethan's eyes, and something inside me deflated. "Okay," I sighed. "If it's just for a while, we can make it work." Ethan smiled, relieved, but I couldn't mirror his sentiment. That night I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, a sense of foreboding creeping over me. The following week, Mrs. Harper arrived, not with a suitcase, but with a moving company. Boxes upon boxes cluttered our once serene living room, and my heart sank. This was not temporary. It was a complete upheaval. "What's all this, Mrs. Harper?" I asked, trying to mask my dismay with a polite smile. "Oh, darling, I sold the house. This place is much nicer, and I thought, why not?" she chirped, her voice too cheerful for the gravity of the situation. I turned to Ethan, searching for an explanation, but he just shrugged. "Mom needs to be comfortable," he said. That night, as I squeezed past the boxes to reach my own bed, I realized the invasion had just begun. My home, my sanctuary, was slipping away, and with it, a part of my soul screamed in protest. But little did I know, this was just the tip of the iceberg. The real storm was yet to come. The arrival of Mrs. Harper marked the beginning of a new, uninvited chapter in our lives. Her presence, once sporadic, became a permanent fixture, transforming our home into a space I hardly recognized. One evening, about a week after her arrival, I found Ethan and his mother in the midst of a lively conversation in the living room, now cluttered with Mrs. Harper's belongings. "Anna, come join us," Ethan beckoned, his tone unusually cheerful. As I approached, Mrs. Harper's eyes scanned me with a mixture of curiosity and judgment. "Anna, dear, I was just telling Ethan how cozy this place is. Much better than living alone in that big old house." "Ethan, we talked about this being temporary," I whispered, trying to keep my composure. He brushed off my concern with a wave of his hand. "Mom's happy here. Isn't that what matters?" The conversation turned to mundane matters, but I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. This was not the agreement. This was not the life I had envisioned. In the following days, the situation worsened. Mrs. Harper, with her lavish tastes and disregard for boundaries, treated our home like her personal playground. The once orderly living room was now a maze of her possessions, and the tranquil ambiance I cherished was replaced by a constant buzz of her activities. "Ethan, we need to talk," I said one evening, finding him alone in the kitchen. "Your mother, she's taking over our home. We need to set some boundaries." He looked at me, his expression a mix of annoyance and indifference. "Anna, she's just trying to make herself at home. You're overreacting." "Overreacting? Overreacting? Ethan, look around. This isn't a home anymore. It's a storage unit for your mother's things." He shrugged, unmoved. "If you're so unhappy, maybe you should consider leaving." His words hit me like a physical blow. Leave? My own home? But as I looked around at the alien environment that my home had become, I realized he was right. This was no longer my sanctuary. It was time for me to reclaim my space, my peace. That night, with a heavy heart, I packed a suitcase with my essentials. I glanced around the apartment one last time, a silent farewell to a chapter of my life that was closing. As I stepped out into the cool night air, I felt a mix of sadness and relief. I was leaving behind a part of my life, but I was also stepping into a new beginning, one where I would not be overshadowed by the whims of others. I found refuge in a modest hotel room that night, the city lights twinkling like distant stars. Alone with my thoughts, I reflected on the path that led me here. My journey from a passionate beautician to a successful clinic owner was a testament to my resilience and ambition. But my personal life, it seemed, had taken a detour I hadn't anticipated. Ethan and I had met in a serendipitous encounter at a local cafe. He was charming, with a carefree spirit that complemented my meticulous nature. Our relationship blossomed into marriage, a union I believed was built on mutual respect and understanding. Yet, here I was, feeling like a stranger in my own life. The following days were a blur of emotions and decisions. I temporarily relocated my clinic to a smaller, more affordable space and dove into work. It was my sanctuary, a place where I felt in control, empowered. But the image of our cluttered apartment, now overrun by Mrs. Harper's possessions, lingered in my mind. Ethan's words echoed in my ears, "Maybe you should consider leaving." It wasn't just about the physical space. It was about respect, about being heard. I realized Ethan's perception of our life together had been a facade, masking his apathy and entitlement. Determined to confront the situation, I arranged to meet Ethan at a neutral location, a quaint coffee shop where we had shared many moments in the past. "Ethan, we need to talk about everything." "About us," I began, my voice steady but laced with emotion. He looked uncomfortable, fidgeting with his coffee cup. "Anna, I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to understand that what happened wasn't just about your mother moving in. It's about us, about how you disregarded my feelings, and my presence in our home." Ethan sighed, a look of realization dawning on his face. "I didn't see it that way. I just thought—" "That's just it, Ethan. You didn't think about us, about me. You made a decision that affected both our lives without even considering how I would feel." The conversation was difficult, filled with moments of silence and unspoken truths, but it was necessary. By the end, it was clear that our paths had diverged. The love that once bound us had frayed under the weight of unmet expectations and unspoken grievances. As I walked away from the coffee shop, a sense of closure washed over me. It was time to turn the page, to start a new chapter in my life, one where I was the author of my own story. In the weeks that followed, I immersed myself in my work, finding solace in the familiar routines of my clinic. Each facial treatment I performed was not just a service to my clients, but a therapeutic ritual for my own healing. Yet, in the quiet moments, my thoughts drifted back to Ethan and the life we had shared. It was during one of these reflective moments that my phone rang. Ethan's name flashed on the screen, a jolt to my newfound tranquility. I hesitated but answered. "Anna, we need to talk." Ethan's voice was tense, a stark contrast to his usual nonchalance. I agreed to meet him at our apartment, a place I hadn't returned to since the night I left. Stepping back into the apartment was like entering a time capsule, each room a reminder of the dreams and plans we had woven together. Ethan was waiting, his posture rigid, a nervous energy about him. "Anna, I've been thinking a lot since our last talk. I realize I've been inconsiderate." "Inconsiderate is an understatement, Ethan." My response was calm but firm. He nodded, accepting the rebuke. "I know, and I'm sorry, truly, but I want to make things right. Can we start over?" The offer hung in the air, heavy with the weight of our past. Part of me yearned for the comfort of what was familiar, of the love we once shared, but another part, stronger and more resolute, knew that some paths, once diverged, cannot be rejoined. "Ethan, I appreciate your apology, and I believe you're sincere, but too much has changed. I've changed. We can't just erase what happened and start over." He looked crestfallen, the reality of my words sinking in. "I guess I was hoping. But you're right. I just wish things could have been different." As I left the apartment for the last time, I felt a chapter closing behind me. It was a chapter filled with love, learning, and ultimately letting go. The pain of the past was still there, but it was now a part of the tapestry of my life, a tapestry I was weaving with new threads of strength and independence. As the days turned into weeks, my new reality began to take shape. I poured my energy into revitalizing my clinic, introducing new services and workshops that resonated with my own journey of self-care and empowerment. My clients, new and old, embraced these changes, and I found joy in their transformations, both skin deep and beyond. The clinic became more than just a business. It was a testament to my resilience, a place where I could channel my experiences into something beautiful and healing. My confidence grew, not just as a businesswoman, but as an individual forging her path. It was during this period of growth that Ethan re-entered my life, albeit in a way I hadn't anticipated. One evening, as I was closing the clinic, my phone buzzed with a message from him. Hesitant, I opened it to find a plea for help. "Anna, I'm in trouble. Can we talk?" The message was vague, but something in the tone suggested a seriousness I couldn't ignore. We agreed to meet at a local park the following day, a neutral ground amid the autumn leaves. Sitting on a park bench, Ethan looked different. The carefree demeanor was gone, replaced by a weariness that seemed to weigh on him. "Anna, I messed up," he began, his voice strained. "After you left, things with my mom got out of hand. I didn't realize how much we were spending, how much debt we were accumulating. I'm drowning." His words were a confession, an admission of the chaos he had found himself in. As he spoke, I felt a mix of emotions, surprise, sympathy, but above all, a reaffirmation of the decision I had made to leave. "Ethan, I'm sorry you're going through this, but I can't help you. You need to take responsibility for your actions and find a way to deal with this." He nodded, a resigned acceptance in his eyes. "I know, I guess I was hoping for a miracle." Our conversation was brief, but it was clear that Ethan's journey was taking a different path, one filled with its own challenges and lessons. As I walked away, I realized that while our lives had diverged, I hoped he would find his way, just as I had found mine. Life has a way of coming full circle, and in the months that followed, this adage proved true. My clinic flourished, becoming a beacon for those seeking not just beauty treatments, but also a sense of community and empowerment. I had found my stride, balancing the demands of my business with the fulfillment of personal growth. Then came an unexpected turn. One busy afternoon, as I was consulting with a client, my phone rang persistently. Excusing myself, I stepped out to answer, finding Lisa, my cousin and the owner of the apartment I once shared with Ethan, on the other line. "Anna, there's trouble." Lisa's voice was tense. "Ethan and his mother are facing eviction. They haven't paid rent in months, and now they're asking for my help." The news was a shock, but not entirely surprising. Ethan's financial recklessness had been a growing concern, one that I had distanced myself from. Lisa's request was clear. She needed my help to sort this out, to confront Ethan and his mother about their obligations. I agreed to meet with them, not out of obligation to Ethan, but to support Lisa, who had always been a pillar in my life. The meeting was set in the very apartment I had left behind. Walking in, I was struck by how much it had changed. The once orderly and stylish space was cluttered, the air heavy with the tension of broken promises and unmet responsibilities. Ethan and Mrs. Harper were there, their expressions a mix of embarrassment and defiance. Lisa, ever the picture of composure, led the discussion. "Ethan, you know the terms of the lease. You've fallen behind, and this can't continue. I'm sorry, but you need to vacate the apartment," she said firmly. Ethan's response was a mix of excuses and pleas for leniency, a far cry from the confident man he once portrayed. Mrs. Harper, too, chimed in, her tone desperate. "Anna, please, you have to help us," she pleaded, turning to me. "You were part of this family, too." But I was no longer the person they once knew. "I'm sorry, but my helping is not an option. You both need to take responsibility for your actions." The meeting ended with a clear understanding that they had to leave the apartment. As I left, I felt a sense of closure, not just for myself, but for a chapter that had long needed ending. It was a poignant reminder of how our choices shape our destinies, and how, in the end, we are all accountable for the paths we choose. As the leaves began to turn, signaling the arrival of autumn, I found myself reflecting on the journey that had brought me to this point. The challenges, the heartaches, and the triumphs had all woven into the fabric of my life, each thread a vital part of who I had become. The clinic was bustling with activity, a vibrant hub that mirrored my own personal growth. I had expanded my team, bringing in talented individuals who shared my vision of empowering others through self-care. My clients weren't just customers, they were part of a community we were building together. One crisp morning, as I sipped my coffee, I opened a letter from Ethan. It was brief, a simple acknowledgement of our divorce being finalized. The words were formal, but in them I sensed a tone of regret, perhaps even a hint of gratitude. I set the letter aside, feeling a sense of peace. Our chapter had ended, but our stories continued, each on our own path. In the solitude of my apartment, now a cozy sanctuary that reflected my tastes and ambitions, I contemplated the lessons I had learned. I had discovered an inner strength I never knew I possessed, a resilience that had carried me through the storm. I had learned the importance of boundaries, of speaking up for oneself, and of the courage it takes to walk away from situations that no longer serve us. My thoughts turned to Ethan and Mrs. Harper. Despite the pain they had caused, I harbored no ill will. I wished them well on their journey, hoping they would find their own lessons in the choices they had made. Looking ahead, I felt a surge of excitement for the future. My dreams for the clinic were evolving, with plans to collaborate with local charities and expand our wellness programs. Personally, I was open to new experiences, to the possibilities of love and companionship, but on my terms, with the wisdom gained from my past. As I closed the door to my apartment, stepping out into the brisk morning air, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. Life, with all its unpredictability, was a beautiful, ever-changing tapestry. I was ready to embrace whatever came next, to weave new dreams and adventures into the story of Anna Mitchell.